Hello there. This is Darth Melvin, and welcome to the Darth Melvin party. What's going on, guys? How's it going? We're live. We're live on YouTube, live on Rumble, and we're getting this channel started, and we're gonna be here every week. And this stream is going to evolve. And I'm predicting some big things. I got a big prediction for you guys, which might be shocking, but I kind of just have a vision. I have a vision for where we're going to take this. Obviously, if you're familiar with the Star Wars channel, we are there. We are avenging Star Wars, and that's not going to stop. And I wouldn't consider myself a political expert, but we could get a little more wired in. We can sharpen our knowledge on what's going on. And I think we could take this to big heights.
I warn you not to underestimate my power.
So every week, I think it's going to get a little bit better. We're going to grow more. We're going to, we're building the fucking brand. We're going to talk about sports on my other channel. I mean, we're going to get into everything. We're going to be a big shot. So today's stream, we're talking about Nick Fuentes. He was on Piers Morgan, and he was on Tucker, and then he was on Steven Crowder, and now he is on Piers Morgan. And so I don't know much about the guy. So I watched his interview with Tucker. And so then I watched the one with Crowder and watched the one with Piers. And I still don't really know much about the guy. So, I mean, what does the chat have to say about him? The one thing I can say is I'm supposed to not like him. So that just kind of makes me like him. Because people are like, no, don't like him. He's bad. What I do know about him is he's been anti-Trump in a lot of ways, like encouraging people to vote for Kamala of all people. I definitely do not like that at all. Do not like that at all. I need to know about Nick Fuentes. He's a white supremacist racist. So that's what Pierce was trying to say about him. That's what Pierce was trying to say. That's what they all try to say about him. But is he really? I don't know. What I can make of it is whenever they say he's stuff like that, he'll deny it basically. He'll kind of flip-flop on it, and he might play nice when he's on these interviews, but when he's on his own show, it could be a different story. And I don't watch his show. I don't know much about him. But I think he's different when he's on his show, and he's different when he's on these interviews. We got someone saying he never told anyone to vote for Kamala. Hoops fan. He is pathetic, a level beyond pathetic. Do we have any Nick Fuentes fans in the chat? So far, I'm seeing no support. The one thing I can say I like about him is he's America first. He claims to be America first. And that's what I am. I am America first. But I do support Donald J. Trump. And my position on Trump is just let him cook. Let him cook. I don't like the infighting with the conservatives. I don't like it at all, especially considering how bad it got with the far left taking over the Democrats, how bad the Biden administration was. Trump saved us from Kamala Harris and another 4 years of the Democrats probably would have destroyed the country. And I don't like how people all of a sudden are just like, well, and like taking it for granted and be like, Trump this, Trump that, you didn't do this right. Blah, blah, blah. Like let's just celebrate these 4 years. We got 4 more years of this country, as far as we know it, before they get back in power. That's what I mean. Like, I can sit here, I can say, I don't like this, I don't like that. I mean, there's very little bit that I would say I don't like, but what I do like far outweighs the negatives. And it's like, you can have an intelligent conversation, be like, well, Trump is weak here, he didn't deliver here. I'm not interested in nitpicking his presidency at all. I feel it is we need to support the team. Need to support the team. We need to build momentum. If you don't think he's that good for these 4 years, well, the next person needs to build upon what he's doing. That's what I envision. Well, what I can get from Nick Fuentes is he claims he's America first, very America first, and he's so against Trump now, where he feels Trump is no longer America first. And so he feels he needs to tear the whole system down in order for the Republicans to get it, and so he can get to where we want this country to be. So I like kind of get the whole Kamala stuff before what he's saying. I don't support it at all, but I can kind of see where he's coming from. But I don't like the infighting with conservatives. Like Trump has changed the game. The left hates him, and I don't think the conservatives should be contributing to that hate at all. And I will be very curious. I mean, there's going to be people that just can't stand Donald J. Trump no matter what he does. So I'll be very interested to see what happens in 2028. What happens in 2028? Like, who are we going to get in there? Is the TDS going to be passed along to someone else, or is it going to be over with? Nick Fuentes is a Fed. That could be true. It could be. Elon Musk is saying it. $2 million illegals gone so far. He's delivering on that. America first, man. Like, imagine trying to go to a foreign country and live there illegally. You'll get thrown in jail. It's not going to work out for you. But here, oh my God. And for the people that have been here for so many years, never got followed through on the paperwork, I mean, come on. We're here to have a discussion. I do not have a fully formed opinion on Nick Fuentes. I don't, but I'm not going to sit here and be like racist, sexist, misogynist, because that's what Piers Morgan was doing on his interview. So I'm just, yeah, I'm not interested in putting labels on him at this point. I do see he kind of flip flops on the labels when people say he's this and that. He'll deny it, but then he'll admit to it. And the reality is, for 2025, litter all those names. Like we are going to fit those labels that they give us, because they have pushed the bar so low that all those terms are going to apply to us. So maybe that's what he's thinking when he'll admit to Piers Morgan, oh yeah, I'm a racist, but like, does he really believe that? Maybe he believes he's by the 2025 definition he is, but is he considered one, how you would say in like the 90s or something? Star Wars Marvel Piers taking a shot. He's proven he's a shitty debater too. DeSantis aligned himself with the establishment in the primaries. Can't trust him anymore. From what I know, he's a good governor, but that 2024 campaign was embarrassing. Should not, he should not have run in 2024. There's things to criticize Nick for, but not this whiny SJW stuff. See, I really don't know. I don't watch his show. I don't know how much of it is a performance, but I was not really impressed with Piers Morgan's approach to Nick Fuentes. Tucker was fine, but then Tucker started talking about him after the show. Crowder was friendly with him. Piers was just trying to get him in these gotchas, trying to basically say he's a misogynist, a racist, and it just seemed like he was fixated on that instead of talking to him. He's from what I can tell, they were sort of friends, but currently not right now. Piers Morgan. Yeah, he's a crybaby. People think he's a grifter. That's what I was thinking. Like, the other two wanted to just talk to him. Piers was out to like get the labels on him. So that's why I call him the crybaby in the stream. And speaking of Piers Morgan, now I just kind of, I'm like thinking about the future of this channel, and dare I make a prediction that this channel is going to get a lot more popular, that the same strategies that I have used on the Star Wars channel can be applied to famous people in the political space. Darth Melvin is one day going to be on the Piers Morgan show. That's where we're taking this. That's where we're going to take this. Piers Morgan uncensored, and maybe I'll call him a crybaby. Maybe I'll call him a crybaby to his face. I don't know. Like, I don't think I'll be as controversial as Fuentes. I am right wing. I support Trump, but yeah, I don't think we share the same views on stuff. I don't think anything I'll say will be that crazy. It depends. It'd be funnier if we had the mask on, be more mysterious, but who knows when that might happen. I'm just seeing a vision of the future where we could take this. So remember this day. Remember this fucking day. Like in the Star Wars channel, we're limited. We're talking about loser, unemployed shills for Disney. In the political space, I know how to get under their skin. They're popular. They'll signal boost the channel. All it's going to take is a little bit of work, a little bit of luck. The people will see the channel, and we'll get people flooding in. I mean, he's had he'll talk to basically anyone. So regardless if I call him a crybaby or not, I think he would talk to me. But I don't know. Right now, this channel is in its infancy. My views could fluctuate over time, but really it's pro-Trump, America first, conservative. I've gotten more conservative as I've gotten older. And if anything that will define me and will never change is I'm anti-leftist. And basically anti-democratic party. So whatever they got going on, I don't want any part of it. Don't want any fucking part of it. So that's why I don't like the infighting with conservatives, because it's like with that happens and we get the Democrats back in office, back in the White House, this country could be over. And here's the thing, like, I'm really out of the loop when it comes to just who's popular in this space. Like, I don't really listen to people. You know, with Charlie Kirk, what happened was very devastating, but it's like I didn't watch Charlie Kirk. Now it's like now that he's gone, I'm more familiar with him. So, you know, Tucker is kind of still relatively new since the Fox News shit. Um so I don't know. We're gonna be evolving on this channel. Political views gonna get sharper. Streams are gonna get better. Leftists are gonna get pissed off. See, here's the thing. I feel people can nitpick all they want about the Republicans. I feel if the Republicans are in power for the next 20 years, I feel I could take a step back and not really care, focus on my own life, and life will be good. But if the Democrats are in power for the next 20 years, life is going to be hell. Complete fucking hell. I mean, say what you want about Nick, but I feel he should have said all that stuff to his face instead of having like a good interview with him, and then immediately after start saying all the shit about him. You know, he should have said that in the interview. You're both being gay, man. All right. We got $1 super chat on Rumble. Hoops fan. Interest rate went down again today. Trump is the best president ever. And we got John Getz gifted 1 subscription to Darth Melvin Party. Nice. Nice.
If we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
Thank you, guys. So I think we'll just go over some of the Piers Morgan interview. You guys will just kind of let me know what you're thinking.
And I think that everybody understands this on some level. On my show, I make jokes and I use rhetoric and I'm hyperbolic because for a long time I had an audience that was small on these like dissident platforms.
All right, so who in the chat has watched his show? Who in the chat is like a regular viewer of his show? I have not watched his show. But I can see how he's a little more loose on his show. And then when he gets on these, he'll say he's joking, but like how much of it is it a joke? How much of it is real? Never forget Piers Morgan demonize those who refuse to take the COVID jab. Speaking of Piers Morgan, this might be fake news. His wife took a 6-month break from their marriage. She may have been banging other dudes. The very little I've looked into it, that's like not entirely accurate, but for today's stream, I guess it is. Darth Ghostface taking a shot. Oops, fan saying it's not true. Steezo for life. Where's the evidence? I personally do not believe that. If that was true, the Democrats would have revealed that a long time ago. Like, how do they sit on that information? Kramer taking a shot at Ghostface.
Jobs in the United States. From China.
I was on D Live for many years. A lot of people don't even know what that is. And so I had a small following, and we had sort of like an in-group sense of humor and memes and things like that. And you talk about it one way on a freewheeling live stream when I'm by myself and I'm ranting, and we make jokes, and we play devil's advocate. We play with different positions. But then when you sit down in an interview like this one, and people ask me a good faith question, what do you actually believe? Well, then I clarify and I say, well, here I'm not joking. Here I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not being rhetorical. I'll tell you precisely what I believe. As far as this idea that I'm going to get power and then turn into Hitler, that just sounds totally insane to me. I'll be honest. It just sounds insane. And my father was third generation. So their ancestors came here.
Say Applebee's, and my dad would say we would never eat at Applebee's. Not in a million years should you be caught dead, Fuentes said.
See, Piers tries to... He's not interested in really hearing him talk. He's just trying to prove to everyone that this guy who's got a big following is a racist. He comes from a racist upbringing. Tries to say that he's a sexist, misogynist. Yeah, that just seemed like that was the entire goal of Piers Morgan, and I'm not really a fan of that. Taking a shot at Applebee's.
About Applebee's, go to a different restaurant, a local restaurant. No Applebee's, no Red Lobster. That is commonly known as black fare. And you also shared another story about your family.
I don't know, like the Epstein. One of the bad things that Trump has done is the whole Epstein's shit. They basically said they're going to release the files, and they didn't. And now they're saying they're releasing them, but have they released them? I don't think they have. But if he was involved with this shit, like this would be well known by now. I think Macron's wife is definitely a man. I mean, looks like a man. I think so. She's also very mannish. So is anyone in the chat just like triggered that we're even talking about Nick Fuentes? I mean, we're gonna be doing that here. We're gonna be making people uncomfortable. We're gonna be triggering the leftists. He did get a little fired up in this interview.
And restaurants. Said, before me and my sister were born, my family had a saying about Olive Garden that contains the N word that we're not allowed to say. So my question,
behaviors, never ashamed of some of the things that go on. And that's why I think there's a lot of negative attitudes these days. And so, you know, again, I think those attitudes, you say I'm a product of my environment. I am. And so are my parents and my grandparents. Unlike you, because you're not even American, have to live in a big, diverse city where there's a lot.
I will say, my opinion on Nick Fuentes is not fully formed, but from what I've seen of him for the 3 interviews I watched, there's not much there where I'll be, tuning into a show and taking everything he says 100% seriously and be like, this is the guy, the future. It just, to me, he's just another one in the conservative space. And, that's it. Like, maybe that could change. But if for now, like, I didn't hear anything like that, that awesome from him.
A lot of different kinds of people, and I think anybody in Chicago tell you the same.
I live in London. It's one of the big.
But I guess he is growing in influence, doing pretty well.
Biggest and most diverse cities in the world.
But it's not the same.
Well, actually, it's a big, diverse city. The only difference is we don't have the gun violence because we don't have guns. That's a whole different story.
Does anyone watch Tim Pool? Because I don't watch him either.
I don't want to get into that with you. I have got into that before.
You got
in America.
a knife problem. You got sword problems.
We have problems with
Aladdin.
We have problems with violent crime. I make no pretense of it. So the idea that somehow I'm cosseted in London because I'm not in Chicago.
I didn't say that.
Well, you kind of implied it, but I guess my point about the environment, I'm not saying you are a product of your environment. I'm saying most people are in some capacity. Mm-hmm. When I read that anecdote, which just to remind you, it's not something I have put out there. You told this story.
They're always coming up with.
So the one big criticism I have of Nick Fuentes in this interview is he's basically talking about his dad not wanting to eat at certain restaurants on his show, and Piers Morgan brings it up, and Nick kind of melted down a bit about Piers Morgan bringing it up, and I could see why he's upset about him bringing it up because it's kind of putting his dad on blast, but he did it on his own show.
No, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Okay. Would you like to clarify what you meant there?
That's all true. That's 100% true. Everything I said in that clip is true.
Including that blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, all of them?
No, for the most part.
What does the most part mean? What percentage of American blacks would you like to see in prison?
Whatever the percentages of the murderers. I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime. So maybe let's say that, 5%.
Oh, so you're talking about people.
So he's saying 5% compared to most of them. That's a contradiction. But it's a pretty wild statement. Let's go back to this.
Jews, women, and blacks. Let's just take a listen.
They're always always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
See, blacks statistically they commit the most violent crime, but to say on the stream they need to be imprisoned for the most part, and then he tells Piers, well, it's only 5%. That's a major contradiction. Like, the most part I would think is like, what, 75%, 80? The big difference, 80% to 5%. Jews controlling everything, it's very broad, but from looking at I didn't know this about him, but from the Tucker Carlson interview, the Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire really did not like him talking about Israel at all, questioning the funding to Israel. And so they blacklisted him, basically canceled him from the conservative movement. So, like, there's some truth to that. Like, there's something going on with the Israel and our support for them, and you're not allowed to question that. And as for me, I'm America first. I don't wish bad on other countries, but it's like we gotta handle our own shit before we're giving out money to other countries. So they should be on their own. They don't need our support. And then he says women should shut the fuck up. Well, I mean, liberal women should shut the fuck up. Feminist women should shut the fuck up. But there's conservative women out there.
And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Okay. Would you like to clarify?
But the thing is, he's on his show, and that's like a soundbite on his show. He's getting carried away on his show. But here he is on Piers Morgan, and he's kind of clarifying what he really means. So you can like look at that clip and be like, oh my God, he's a racist. But like, you know, he could just be kind of kidding around when he's on his own show.
What you meant there?
Then that clip is, yeah.
I mean, I know on my streams I get a little wild. I might say some things I don't like necessarily mean.
Yes.
But all of them?
No, for the most part.
What does the most part mean? What percentage of American blacks would you like to see in prison?
Whatever the percentages of the murderers. I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime. So maybe let's say that, 5%.
Oh, so you're talking about black people who murder people?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But you didn't say that.
That's
You
the
just
crime
said
problem.
blacks.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good addition to that. That's a great point.
You think it's funny, or?
Yeah, I do. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally true.
Do you think a black American would find it funny? You think that blacks should be imprisoned for the most part?
Blacks are my biggest fans. I get high fives all the time. They say, Nick Fuentes, I love your show. You know why? Here's the difference. Black people are the most victimized by other black people. You think black people want to live in the hood and the ghetto and get shot all the time? That's what happens in the south side of Chicago. You should come here. I'll take you there. We could go to Garfield Park.
My son
we could
went
go
to Chicago
Inglewood.
University for a year, actually, several years ago.
Yeah, that's a bubble. That's a bubble. You think you're in Chicago and Hyde Park? You don't know Chicago. Go a little bit west, see what it's like over there. And I'll tell you, black people agree with me because they're tired of it too. And maybe not most of them, but a lot of them agree with what I say about that because they know how it is. That's why the first thing they do when they make a little bit of money is they go and leave to another neighborhood.
Okay, so what was just remind me again, the percentage of black men who commit murder in America. What was the percentage you gave me?
It's 1 in 20. 1 in 20.
It's 1 in 100.
So there is, I mean, statistically, they commit the most violent crime, but like to say they did, you know, we're kind of getting into Minority Report pre-crime. Let's skip ahead.
A racist, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
See, here's the thing. Piers Morgan, like, are you a racist? According to the Democrat term in 2025, sure, I am, and like everyone in the chat is. But do like we really think we are? Like the real term, no. But the Democrat version of it in 2025, like I'm not interested in trying to convince them that I'm not. Because their standards, what it takes to not be considered that is ridiculous. It's basically suck Kamala Harris's dick, just like believe in full on equity, reparations, and it's like I don't want any part of that. And so Nick Fuentes kind of seems like he's like that, but he didn't really present it like that. He's just kind of like he's just like admitting that he is, and then later in the interview he's like, no, I'm not. And so for me, I can tell you, okay, the Democrat term, yeah, sure, whatever you want to call me, but do I like really think that? No. So I just thought he like kind of contradicts himself. And sometimes he'll be indifferent about it, like right here, but later he'll be a little upset about it, that he's getting labeled this.
You're fine with saying you're a racist?
Totally. I think everybody's racist. I think everybody, if we're being honest, is racist. I think everybody, the only
Especially liberal white women.
people that aren't racist or pretend not to be are white people to their detriment. Everybody else is racist.
But earlier in the interview, you got aggrieved at the idea that your father was a racist. You wanted to make emphatically
because
sure
my father's
he's not.
Because
That's the biggest criticism I have. This was by far the worst interview. I don't know about for entertainment value, but just for the interview, he was just trying to get him in SJW gotcha moments. That's what I think he was doing.
my father doesn't share my same views on that.
So he's the exception to the everyone's a racist.
Well, everybody's a little bit racist. You're right. So maybe everybody. The difference is you're attacking my father. You know, he could get fired from his job.
I'm not attacking your father.
You are.
No, I'm not. I don't know your father. And to be clear, I have no knowledge about him at all.
Well, then let's leave him out of it. Let's leave him out of it if you don't know him.
Hang on, Nick. You put that story into the public domain on your show. I'm simply reminding you of what you told everybody, millions of people, about your father. If you now want to retract it, fine. If you want to say it was a joke, which is what your position was earlier, fine. But I'm allowed to put to you things you've said publicly. That's not unfair. That's not me targeting your father.
He probably
put that
is.
story about him out
You know
there.
what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
I'm asking you about a pretty shocking anecdote, which to me looked like you were saying your father made decisions about where.
All right, so I've watched this whole interview. They do start talking, but then he tries to shift it onto school shootings, which I think is ridiculous.
You as a family would eat based on skin color of people who worked at these places. If you say, or use them, if you say that is not what you meant, that's fine. You can respond any way you like. But the idea I can't ask you about it without you saying I'm attacking your father is ridiculous.
Well, you are, and you know what you're doing. And there's a political culture in America where if you have the wrong views.
Yeah, this was interesting. So I have a take on this. The left, especially the far left, is so obsessed with same-sex, transgenders, sex with animals, sex with non-carbon-based life forms, sex with imaginary people. Yet, and so like everything is tolerated, asexuality, all this mental illness is tolerated. But when Nick Fuentes says that he is Christian, he's waiting for marriage, and that he is a virgin, it's like Piers Morgan goes on the attack. And I've noticed that the left does that a lot. Attacks people that don't align with the feminist agenda. They'll just be like, "Oh, you're a misogynist incel," and that's basically what Piers Morgan was doing the entire interview and doing after the interview, pushing the narrative that he's a misogynist incel. And it's like, you want to say he's a misogynist. There's a lot of there's evidence to support that. But to like rip on him for being a virgin, for someone that is Christian, he's trying to say that that's a negative, and basically dismissing the fact that he's a Christian and saying because he's a misogynist, he doesn't get women and therefore he's a loser. And that's what the left does with basically anyone. Like, I see it all the time in the Star Wars fandom. Like, people will call like people that are known to have marriages and a family, and I'm like, yeah, you're just an incel. So I just find it funny how they're so obsessed with weird kinds of sexual shit, but when it comes to someone who's just like, no, I'm not really into it, or I'm waiting for marriage, like, that's the worst thing in the world. Like, to me, I think that's hypocritical that they're not accepting of that, because they're accepting of everything else. And he does say later in the interview, which kind of like contradicts what Piers is saying, is that like he's got girls in his DMs that like they want the full on Nick Fuentes. Like they want him to be a misogynist, and they were getting into like 50 Shades of Grey stuff, and it's like they want Nick Fuentes to be the sexist male in their life, but he's choosing not to. And so, like, for all these fans of Piers Morgan, all these like typical liberals who are finding these feminists on the dating apps, girls that weigh like 200 pounds. Yeah, maybe they hooked up with a couple of these girls, but Nick Fuentes probably has some babes in his DMs that he's passing up. And how much money does he got? Probably a lot. So just interesting take on that.
You get fired from your job. And my father has a job. And if you go on here and say you charge him with racism or something, and I'm put in a position where I don't look like I'm sticking to my...
And that's where I saw like people in the replies talking about how Piers Morgan's wife took 6 months off of their marriage. Now, I did look deeper into it. It seems like it's fake. It's a fabricated story that the wife was fucking other dudes on that 6-month break, but that's what people are saying online. And like, you gotta wonder what's worse, being in a relationship with these feminist women, these fat feminist women with like the pig rings on their nose, or being like a Nick Fuentes type. Like, you have to like ask yourself, like, what's worse? And for me, I would never want to be with a feminist girl with a fucking pig ring. Be disgusting. Yeah, the Sawyerisms, the Molly Damons. It'd be hell.
Guns, if I don't say my father's a racist, you're putting him in jeopardy, and he's not here to defend himself or explain his views. And it's very low, and I think you know exactly what you're doing, and people can see what you're doing. I'll defend my views, and I think that, so let's leave him out of it. Let's just not talk about my father, because my father isn't here. I'm here.
Okay, well, then do you accept that you shouldn't talk? Okay, listen, that's fine. But then do you accept you shouldn't talk about your father on your show? And you shouldn't tell...
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So it's fine for you to...
And there's rumors that he's actually a homosexual. He denied those rumors, but that's also still out there. Nick just doesn't seem like a genuine person. The contradictions are pretty telling to me. He says stuff like this all the time, and he rarely says he's joking. It sounds like an excuse. It could be. It definitely could be.
Put a story out there which would make most people who listen to that. So how do you feel about that?
I think that white people do more antisocial violence. I think black people participate in more gang violence. I think that's the difference.
What's the difference to the victims?
There's no difference to the victim, but it's a different kind of crime. And it's a different, I think that that's extremely desirable. And I think even
Nick,
black people do.
Nick, you're perfectly entitled to that view. But when you have obviously prefaced all this by saying, I am a racist, unashamedly, then people will assume that all you.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Nick's response to that, but like Piers, like he didn't need to bring his dad into it. What Nick says on his show can stay on his show, but like when Piers talks about it, like it's gonna get out there. It's gonna get out to the cancel pigs. That's what I'm thinking. I think they're both I didn't like both of their takes on it, but I think Nick ultimately brought it up on his channel. Piers brought it up here and Nick cried about it. That's what I felt. I felt like this was a gotcha moment. And Piers, we'll have to go on Twitter. Piers is going back and forth a bit.
Your thought processes about all of these issues are driven by an aversion to people based on being perpetrated by white people.
Well, hang on. Let me finish my point.
But you're implying that white people don't do this. And my point to you, Nick Fuentes, is of course.
Oh, I never said white people don't do it.
Of course, deranged white people commit heinous acts. But you don't either know.
No disagreement.
You neither know nor care, or maybe both. Maybe you do know but don't care. You only seem to be focused on black people who commit crimes. And again, if you hadn't prefaced the whole debate about racism by openly conceding you are a racist, I could read other.
See, that's what I was saying earlier in the stream. I don't think he really clarified his stance on that. Like for me, if Piers hit me with that, I'd be like, according to the 2025 liberal definition of racism, sure. That's what I am. I'm not interested in denying it, in proving otherwise. Do I really think I am? The real definition, no. So, like, people can say that all they want to me. It's just going to go in one ear and out the other. You're wasting your time trying to argue with crybabies. Them trying to tell you your personality. It's like if anyone knows yourself, it would be you and not a crybaby on the internet.
Connotations into what you've been saying. But once you've said, I'm a racist, and then you only talk about black crime, I think people can watch this and they can say, yeah, he's a racist. And everything that he says about crime is driven through the prism of being a racist who judges people according to their skin color.
Well, it's funny because it's quite on the contrary. And I said this in a similar monologue. You know,
it's like none of these people will live in non-white neighborhoods. None of them will take in. They'll say one thing, do another.
Problem is not that I wake up and I walk down the street and I see someone that doesn't look like me and it makes me angry. The problem is there's a pattern of behavior, which we've all seen. Blacks in America have become narcissistic, and they become narcissistic because they've been told they're victims of racism, they're victims of slavery. They've been told, really, there's no accountability. if they're rude, if they're inconsiderate, if they're criminal, they are told that they have no agency for their actions. They're being told, if you act in this way, it's because the white man made you that way. It's because the system's rigged against you. And so we have been telling black people this for a generation. And now
like liberals that claim they are not really. Not at all.
there's no rules. Now they go, and what we hate to see as decent people, not even as white people, but decent people, even black people too, what we hate to see is rudeness, obnoxiousness, inconsideration, criminality, violence. And that's that.
See, it's like, yeah, just going back to what I was saying before, it's just strange to me how crazy the left is sexually. But then when someone claims I don't have any sex, then they cry their eyes out and they make fun of them for that when they literally got people banging horses on their side.
How you doing? All right. How are you? Have a seat over in that chair, please.
Pattern of behavior that we see all over social media on
so
the
just to
body
be clear,
cam footage,
you don't like black people who play the victim and are rude. Is that your position?
I don't like that pattern of behavior.
And who are narcissists?
I see where this is going.
Yeah,
you're
ahead
going
of
to
me.
turn this around on
You're
me.
ahead of me, aren't you? Because when I said,
Very clever.
what black friends have you got? You said,
I am kind of black, aren't I?
No, not that. You said,
Oh, yeah,
I'm not
also.
saying you. I'm just saying your choice of black friend is Ye, who is arguably the #1 black victimhood narcissist.
All right, so we got John Getz. For $1, he should just say, I think blacks should be judged the exact same as whites, treat them and punish them the same when they commit a crime, and the same with Muslims in London, Piers. So Piers says there's no guns in London, but they do have a knife problem. Is anyone really aware of what's going on with gun violence in London? Because according to Piers, he says there's nothing going on there. I have a hard time believing that. Because typically with more restriction, there's more violence. It's okay to be a Brutus beat-off, but not a virgin, according to Piers. Also, anyone who has been anti-Second Amendment like Piers should never be taken seriously. Yeah, like the Brutus beat-offs, that is glorified, that is accepted. You know, you could be, it's more acceptable, it really is more acceptable to be a furry than it is to be a virgin or someone who's claiming that they are abstinent. It just, to me, that's what the left is. It is constant hypocrisy. Everything they do, hypocrisy through the roof. There's holes in all their arguments. And I'm going to make them cry on this channel. I'm going to expand the brand, and I'm going to make all of them cry. And it's going to be great.
In America. Do you understand the problem? So he's
No,
your
no.
friend. He's one of the very few black people you want to be associated with, but he's the epitome of what you just said you abhor about narcissistic black people.
I disagree. I disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. Because if you've ever met him in real life, Jews and Europeans, between Jews and Christians, the theological, historical, racial, cultural, and political antagonisms between organized Jewry and the Christians, organized Jewry and Europeans. And the reason that we are winning that argument is because it's real. It's true. I can prove it. I can show you. I can name the names. Tribe.
I don't hate any Jews. What do you like about them?
I like a lot of things about them. I think they're funny. I think they're smart. I think that they're pretty remarkable people. And as Christians, especially as Catholics, we say they're remarkable. And this has been adjudicated in Catholic doctrine for thousands of years. We say that they're a witness people. And so we actually, there's provisions inside of Catholic doctrine that says we need to give them special protections because they were a witness to Christ's passion. So, this is why you can't clip the show. You have to watch the whole thing. I say this repeatedly in interviews. I do think they're remarkable. By definition, they're exceptional people. It's just that there is a sort of natural opposition between them and Christians because of the theology. We believe that Christ is a Messiah. They don't.
It's just it all is rooted in you don't get women because you don't buy into the feminist agenda. You don't cuck to women, so therefore you don't get women, and that is completely fake news. Completely fake news coming from the left. So change your views if you want to get girls. Like they don't realize how cucked they are.
They have been a minority in Christian lands for thousands of years, and they have been pushed around and expelled, and they've been persecuted and segregated. And
Billy Loomis taking a shot at organized religion.
that's why there's a lot of paranoia. There's a lot of distrust. There's maybe some sense of chauvinism among Jewish people. So there is, like I said in that clip, there is an historical antagonism between these two peoples, between Christendom and Jewry, and that has always been the case in Europe. But I don't hate them, and I think I actually sort of understand them in a weird way. I think that because I've studied a lot of their politics, I think I really kind of know them in a way, and it doesn't come from a place of hatred.
Do you have any Jewish friends?
I do. I have many, yes.
But that's weird because you said this.
Another gotcha.
Jews and Christians have never been friends, ever. Not since Jesus Christ fought with the Pharisees. Have we ever been friends? Not since Saul was leading the charge persecuting the Christians. Not since the Roman Empire, not since the Middle Ages. Never. We've never been friends. We've never been allies. We've always been set against each other, actually. And even here in the United States, it was communist Jews who were the architects of both communism and the civil rights laws that are dispossessing white Christians of their land and civilization.
The Jews and Christians have never been friends ever, except for you and your Jewish friends.
Yeah, so easy. As peoples, of course, there have been Christians and there have been Christian converts to Judaism, Jewish converts to Christian. You're nodding your head, but you're asking this. I'm saying as peoples, they
his friends.
Of course, there were black and white people that were friendly with each other. It could even be higher than
well,
that.
it could be higher. That is true.
I think it's at least.
But you accept
right.
at least.
It is at least. Oh, it's at least 6 million. But
okay.
It could be 100 times more than that.
Okay, the people are going to be.
Let me respond to your.
Jewish people have lost relatives in the Holocaust. In fact, I want to play you two clips. One is where you talk about Adolf Hitler.
Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool. So, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go. He was also really fucking cool.
So, yeah, the PDF file saying that and then saying he's cool after is a horrible look. Not a good quote. I mean, it's just that seeing how he talks about it afterwards. Basically, he's tired of like the Hitler shaming that the left does, like talking about Hitler constantly, keep bringing him up, keep getting upset about the Holocaust. And his argument is this happened so many years ago, like, who the fuck cares? Let's just joke about it. And then it's like, obviously he's bad, but let's focus on the stuff that I think is cool about him. That's basically the argument he's making, and Piers has like a meltdown about it.
You regret saying that?
Saying a fact? No, that's absolutely true.
You think Hitler was very fucking cool?
But it's like under no circumstance, like, you can say like Hitler was cool. It just, but I get like where he's going with it, but I think he takes it a little too far. I mean, like, this guy was he's messed up, man. But the left does have like an agenda to like constantly talk about this, constantly talk about the Holocaust.
Cool.
Yes, I do.
One of them.
And I'm tired of pretending he's not.
Well,
to be honest,
this is the problem, you see. It's a bit like when you just say, I'm a racist. You're a racist, you think Hitler's cool, but you're not anti-Semitic. If you're a Jewish person watching this, what are they thinking? I'll tell you what they're thinking, because I've got a friend of mine called Danny Finkelstein, who, when he heard I was interviewing you, he's a Times journalist in the UK, very eminent journalist here, and author, who wrote a book about his own family's experiences at the hands of Hitler and Stalin, because he also told Tucker Carlson that you admire Stalin. But let's just take what Danny said here.
Hi Piers, it's Danny Finkelstein here. As you're interviewing Nick Fuentes, you might try suggesting to him that he reads my book, Hitler, Stalin, Mum and Dad. It's called Two Roads Home in the United States. Since he says he's on Team Hitler, you might like to ask him about the fact that Hitler arrested my mum, tried to starve my mum to death, did starve my grandmother to death, sent my...
He does like Stalin. From what he was saying about it, you know, I've like, this is fresh in my mind. I've watched these interviews. It's like, obviously the bad stuff about him isn't good, but he like respects how Stalin like rebuilt Russia and everything. That's the context behind that.
Great aunts to the gas chamber, my great uncle, my cousin, my grandmother on my father's side ended up being one out of 7 children, the only one that survived the war. So you might ask him whether he wouldn't rather be on Team Mum rather than Team Hitler. And as for celebrating Stalin's birthday, well, Stalin took my father, sent him to a state...
Yeah, like, it's one thing to like talk about Stalin, but like, why are you celebrating his birthday? It's a little, I would say that's a tad extreme.
Collective farm, sent my grandmother...
to say something like Hitler was very fucking cool.
It's for this. It's for all of this. And the lack of self-awareness.
So he's just kind of admitting here, he's saying that for like the clip, for the views. It's like there's some truth to it with him, but it's like, you know, that's a performance. Saying Hitler is cool. Because like, look, he's saying that shit, and then like, look at Piers Morgan. He's like horrified, which I do find very funny. How it's like he expects Nick to act a certain way when Hitler's mentioned, the Holocaust is mentioned, but Nick is just like, I don't care. This happened so long ago, and so Piers basically wants him canceled because of that reaction.
Awareness is amazing. You're a boomer. You're a 60-year-old boomer, and we've spent maybe 3 minutes on you saying he's a really fucking monster. He incinerated people. And I'm sitting here saying it's not that serious. It's not that deep. And
not that serious.
I'm getting at,
not that serious.
Do you want to say more about?
Well, you're not
he's a monster.
You're not a kid yourself anymore. You're not a teenager.
I know.
Right? You're nearly 30. To be clear, okay? You're a fully formed adult who has a brain, right? And at some stage, that brain is taking you off these rabbit warrens.
Is this an interview or is this a lecture? Can I respond to what you're saying?
I want you to explain why you think it's fine to say how fucking cool Hitler is and to dismiss
in the
the
United
very
States.
powerful 90 seconds from a British journalist who lost a lot of family members
China.
to the Nazis in such a callous, dismissive manner?
I don't think it's powerful. I think we've been hearing that our entire lives. Okay. The Schindler's List. Let's just be honest. The propaganda is over the top. We have been brought in America.
What about
and
the Schindler's
everywhere.
List?
Hey,
Tell me
hang on,
about
can
the
I
Schindler's
respond?
List. Well, tell me about the Schindler's List.
I'll tell you about it. We have been browbeaten as a people, as Americans, as Western, for our entire lives. And do you know what this has done? It has taken away any sense of pride, any sense of love for our own civilization. We have been
This stream is going to fucking evolve. We're going to get more clips. It's going to be great. Got a good turnout tonight. Maybe we should talk about Nick Fuentes more. Some good SEO.
made the villain in our own story. We have been made because, well, let's just be clear. It doesn't begin and end with Hitler is a monster. This has been the political narrative, which is why we have thrown open the borders. This is a political narrative, which is why we can't be a conservative society as a whole.
It's like, it's no one's going to go out and say Hitler's cool, but, you know, to people like Piers Morgan, it's like, shut the fuck up. It's like, we're tired of hearing about Hitler. We're tired about hearing about the Holocaust. Tired about hearing about how we're all Nazis.
Anymore, why we can't be proud of Europeans, why we can't be proud of being Christian, because they've told us if you're too white and too proud and too Christian, it's going to lead to a Holocaust. And so my generation, our entire lives,
Honestly, Nick
it's true,
Fuentes,
and that's why people like me. That's why I'm popular, because this is bullshit.
Shit. Honestly,
yeah, it's a crock. We don't want to hear any more about me, mom, and me.
So Piers called the title of this video "What a Crock of Shit." So this is just a total gotcha. The whole video, whole interview, and then so people who click on this video who are fans of Piers, they're like, "Oh, Nick Fuentes, he had him on," and then the title's "What a Crock of Shit." So people go into this interview already thinking this is going to be a disaster, that Piers is going to prove that he is every name in the book. To me, it's dishonest, and it's not like the other two, Tucker and Steven Crowder, like they just wanted to talk to him. Piers has an agenda here to label him a misogynist, racist, anti-Semite, because that's what the left does.
Yeah,
what
that's
you
the
just
crock of shit.
no, listen. What you just said is a crock of shit, and you
It's
know
true.
it.
It's
And
called the open society.
In your gut, you know it is. You weaponize this stuff.
You know.
You weaponize this stuff for money, but you know when you say something like what you just said.
I'm banned from banking.
You
I'm
know
banned from banking and credit cards. You know who you're talking to? I do it for money.
And by the
How
way,
much money you
and by
make?
the
Your
way,
company's
that
worth
shouldn't-
$100 million. Your company's worth $100 million. I was banned from Bank of America.
And you shouldn't
I'm
have
banned from
been.
processing credit cards.
And you shouldn't have been.
But I am. So don't tell me I'm doing it for money.
Well, ask me my opinion about that. I'll tell you shouldn't have been. Right? I don't agree with that. What happened to
Then
you?
don't say I'm doing it for money, because you know that full well, and you say it's a
How
grift.
much money- how much
if I
money
wanted to
are
be
you-
a grifter, I'd be like you,
How
and
much
I would
money
go
are-
and say,
How much money are you making?
I'm making a lot of money now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm the #1 live streamer in America, because people agree with me more than they agree with you. We're tired of slavery and the Holocaust and Jim Crow. We're done hearing about that.
Really, you've talked about this.
So, as we said earlier, Nick Fuentes is on the rise. Gen Z. Where's he going? Where do you guys think he's going with this? I thought his Tucker interview was the most interesting, because I didn't know that the Daily Wire, that Ben Shapiro basically canceled him from the conservative movement. But now he's like gaining momentum, so it's like, where does he take this? Does he just continue doing what he's doing? Does he go into political office?
You're talking about.
Are we done talking about white genocide?
Well,
and
no,
we're on to marriage now?
I'm coming to the same part because you seem very resistant to the idea of marriage. You've never got married. You've talked very scathingly about henpecked husbands. Just take a look.
That's true.
Guys get to a certain age and they're like, you know what? Women suck. Like, they're talking too much. They're not hot anymore. Like, you're fat, you're chubby, you're not as hot as you think you are. You fucking talk too much. You're a bitch.
So we'll obviously get to the brazen
Preach.
misogyny part of that a little later. But I'm just curious. On the one hand, there's this terrible genocide going on of white people. On the other hand, you want people effectively to stop going near women because they all turn out to be so ghastly, presumably procreate. So how does that work? I mean, aren't you, with your rhetoric, actively encouraging associate with these ghastly women, therefore not having?
Oh, you should see my DMs. It is quite the opposite. They're called the Groybettes, and I'm actually.
So that's crazy. It's like he's not interested in women. He's waiting till marriage, but I believe him when he says that there are women in his DMs that will throw themselves at him. And it's like how many of these liberals that are like going to make fun of him, like how many of them can say they have they have women in their DMs that want to throw themselves? I mean, I'm sure it's a mix of okay, bad looking, good looking, but it just it's interesting.
Batting them away. Granted, not all of them are attractive. Some of them are attractive.
Are you actually? Look, just to clear up one.
It's very possible too. He said he wasn't, but like it's very possible.
One of the many theories about you, I've no idea what the answer is, and you haven't got to answer. But are you actually attracted to women?
I am attracted to women.
You're not gay?
No. But I will say that women are very difficult to be around.
Okay.
So there's that.
And do you think they should have the right to vote?
I do not. No, absolutely not.
They should stay at home?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Probably the biggest thing I disagree with Nick Fuentes is the whole women in voting. I think that's a bit extreme. I do think we need to get back to the gender roles, which have been, out of whack for many years now. But, to go as far as like, you're not allowed to vote, I think that's a bit extreme. As much as I get annoyed by the one policy voters where all they care about is fucking abortion. But I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat? Do we got any misogynists in the chat that think women should not be allowed to vote?
So basically, you're just a misogynist old dinosaur, aren't you? For a young guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm the boomer. I know I'm the boomer here, but actually, you're a 27-year-old dinosaur.
Now, it's like if you have a job, you're a woman, you have a job, and you pay taxes. Like, how are you not allowed to vote?
Aren't you, Nick Fuentes? All women.
I am.
All women are annoying. All women grow old. They all get fat. Says the guy. Have you ever had sex?
No, absolutely.
I just think that's extreme.
Absolutely not.
Wow. Says the guy who's never got laid. Wow.
That's the thing, though. You boomers, it's
you think
always
you're an expert in women,
free love.
given you've never got laid?
Yeah, we are going back to the Stone Age. You're absolutely right. This, you're talking about empathy, and your kids are empathetic, and they would never laugh at a joke about the Holocaust, and you're a misogynist. You're a simp yourself. You're totally henpecked. That's the problem. So we are going back to the way
another clip of yours about women.
I am for this. I am for that. Keep the retards out. Fuck. And back to what I was saying, I do think you should have a job if to be allowed to vote. Like, if you're not paying taxes, like, why should you vote? And also get rid of the fucking mail-in votes. Fuck that.
A lot of women want to be raped. And when I say raped, I mean like, that sounds bad when I say it like that. But there's like,
Yeah, it's like when I was younger, I was, you know, I wouldn't agree with that, but like, why the fuck not? It's like with the drinking age, where it's like when you're younger, it's like, oh, why is it 21? Well, now that you're older and an adult, it's like you don't give a fuck about the drinking age. Like, why would you want it lowered? You know, teenagers that are young with their parents at like 18, I don't know, should they be voting or not? I mean, I'd be fully on board doing the 21. But I will say, if you're in the military and you're not allowed to vote, like, that's fucked up. Only landowners get the vote. Interesting.
a lot of women that really want a guy to beat the shit out of them. But also they have to pretend, but part of it is they have to pretend like they don't.
You think women want to be raped, do you?
That's what the studies show, Piers. That is what these statistics say.
But that's what you believe,
They
is
have
it?
fantasies. They have fantasies about it. I don't think that they want to actually get raped, but there's a study out there. Get ready for this. It says 62% of women have rape fantasies. And if you read anything that they're reading, if you watched what they're watching, what do you think 50 Shades of Grey is about? What do you think Twilight is about? I mean, that's just true.
You think women want to have the shit beaten out of them, as you said?
Yeah, and it's very disturbing, but it's true.
Do you think your views on women might change if you actually ever had a relationship with one or had sex and actually had a proper relationship? I mean, people say the reason you're so angry about women is you're basically an incel.
See, Piers is taking the approach, well, you don't have experience with women, so you're angry, and that's shaping your views, which are wrong, by the way. The way you're thinking is wrong, and that's because you are unsuccessful with women, which is a narrative that he's saying that he, because of his religious beliefs, he's not with women. And Piers is just twisting that into you're just a loser and you're a dinosaur misogynist. That's why you don't get women. That's what the left does.
Well, I'm not angry about it.
So in order to get women, you got to be a cuck and let your wife go take a 6-month break and probably fuck other dudes.
You sound very angry. You sound very, very angry about women. They get
I'm passionate. It's an issue
you're
I'm
not
passionate about.
You're sounding very bitter about women, as if women have done a terrible disservice to you. But when you don't have relationships, you don't have sex, when are they doing these terrible things to you that's made you so hateful towards women? I'm really curious.
Was that? I don't think that was a hateful clip. I think I was laughing. I said they want men to beat the shit out of them, and that's just true. I mean, when you look at the state of modern women, all they do is lay in their bed, doom scroll. They're chilling out. They're getting a little fat. It is what it is. I don't know what the average weight is, but they're getting.
As I've gotten older, it's like I respect that position more. See, when you're younger, you're like conditioned by the movies, you know, American Pie. You're just like conditioned where it's like, that's lame, man. That's wrong. To have, like, abstinence is stupid. But as I've gotten older, I've just realized that is, you know, it's fake news. Like, do whatever you feel is best for you. You know, like Nick Fuentes is not interested right now. Some people may just be looking for one person. Some may want like 20 different people. You know, you do what's best for you.
A little heavy. And any guy that is playing the field these days will tell you that. I mean, and I know a lot of the Chads. I am an incel. I'm friends with a lot of Chads like Bradley Martin, Clavicular. They agree with me. You know, there's sort of like this alliance between the guys that don't have sex and the guys that get the most sex. We know what women are about. It's the guys in the middle. Guys like you in the middle. It's the beta male orbiters that say, she's
Beta male orbiter.
amazing. You're a misogynistic pig, because I don't know what that is. I guess
Well, come on,
they're
let me
desperate.
explain to you what I think it is. I think when a 27-year-old guy who's never got laid, never had a meaningful relationship with a woman, says that women shouldn't be allowed to vote, they should stay at home, that all they do is fantasize about being raped and being beaten up, that's what they want, that they get fat, that they get ugly. That's a misogynist. Now, you may not understand it because your knowledge of women is so incredibly tiny, but actually you are the embodiment of a misogynist. It couldn't be clearer. And if I was in a way, you have the deep-rooted misogyny of some of the...
All right, so misogynist on Google, this is what it says. A person who dislikes, despises, or is strongly prejudiced against women. So, does Nick Fuentes dislike women? Pretty much said that. Like, does he despise women? I don't know about despise. Is he prejudiced? Having showing a dislike or distrust. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Is it prejudice or is it just religious views?
Actual boomers I know. Yeah, here you are, 27 years old. And most of the current studies show that a lot of men are really disenfranchised, no longer have physical relationships with women if they've ever had them, never associate with women, and build up instinctively misogynist views about women. And I fear you're in that position. You're just a bit of a lonely guy who wants to get laid and can't.
That he just told them because of his religious views, and Piers is trying to just be like, no, you're just unsuccessful with women because you're a misogynist and you're trying to get laid. But Nick told him he's not. That's what they did. They attack like this. We got Smorgan. For $1, he should have asked Piers, how many people did the British Empire kill and enslave? You can always bang a fat chick. You can always bang a fat chick, man. It's a strong word. I'd say not wanting them to vote. You know, that is it's an extreme view. Nick is misogynist. He's nowhere near Pete Fletzer's level. Nick just doesn't like bitches. Which is interesting. It's like Piers can say like all that shit about him, but I totally believe him. Like, you check his DMs, you probably have dudes in there as well with women that want the Fuentes experience. I don't have nice stuff to say about modern liberal women. I really don't. But that's no, I don't really consider them women. I consider them leftist weirdos. Let's see. John gets for $1. Melvin on Piers going to talk about the Melvets who want him to keep the mask on during. if I get popular enough, there would definitely be people, definitely be girls that'd be into that. Which is a tad strange.
I warn you not to underestimate my power.
Oh, he's done streaming. We'll get him next week.
Oh, for whatever reason. And it's made you bitter about women. And I don't know where that's come from, but it's fascinating.
No, see, here's the thing. First of all, you're very caught up in the labels. It's always, you're a racist, you're a misogynist.
That's true. It's the labels. That's what this entire interview is about. Labeling you this, here's the clips, this is why you're that. And because you were that, you shouldn't be taken seriously. That's what they do.
You said you were a racist.
Mean nothing to me. Oh,
you gave yourself.
Can I respond?
You gave yourself the label.
What is this?
You said I am a racist. I didn't give you the label. Okay. You said Nick Fuentes, I am a racist.
Calm down. Calm down.
Did you or didn't you?
It's okay.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so
here's
I didn't give you the label. You did.
Why are you yelling at me?
Because you're trying to infer something that didn't happen. You said I gave you the label of being a racist. No, you did. You said I'm a racist. Okay. You gave yourself the label.
You're gonna have to tone it down a little, all right? You're gonna have to bring it down a notch and relax. This is just
This might be the best part of the interview. Piers getting a little upset, getting a little heated. I mean, too much pigeons.
An interview, okay? Please calm down. All I said is you're hung up. I didn't say you gave me that. Maybe I did.
You did.
But here's what I mean. What I mean is you're just hung up on proving you're a misogynist. Okay, you're a racist. Okay, you denied the Holocaust. And I'm not about the labels,
man. You didn't deny the Holocaust.
Past that.
As I said to you, look, Nick, as I said to you, I just wanted to go over the stuff that everyone uses out there about you and get you to respond. And we are getting, I think, a long way in this interview.
Okay.
Right? You didn't deny the Holocaust. You accepted there's been a Holocaust of at least 6 million Jews.
I'm a maximalist. I'm a Holocaust.
That is significant.
I think it's more.
You did admit you're a racist, and you have spelled out a thought process about women, which is the purest definition of misogyny that I've ever seen. And you said you're not gay. So we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. Well,
2 genders, yes.
Okay. And so you mean there's distinction. There are 2 distinct genders.
I think we should all have the same rights to...
Well, if they're meaningfully distinct, biologically distinct, and they have different social and biological roles, I think it would follow that we would treat them a little bit differently in the law.
Do you think the Catholic Church is...
See, I think we should get back to gender roles, but I don't think we necessarily need laws. Like Nick Fuentes is saying, like one with the voting laws. But I do think we need to get back to the gender roles. And, like women that want to stay home, be a homemaker, like that shouldn't be looked down upon. That should be encouraged. And, there's women that don't want to do that. That should be encouraged too. If they want to go to work, it's up to them, man. This is America.
Teachings reflect that?
I do. Yeah, there's no female priests. Have you ever seen that?
Do you think that the Catholic Church thinks all women should be deprived of the vote?
Yeah, I think so.
No, they don't.
I think they do, yeah.
You think the Catholic Church position is women shouldn't be allowed to vote?
I think so, yeah, but I'm not positive.
No, it's bullshit.
Oh, it should be.
It should be. So if you were Pope, that's what you do. You could be Pope because you're celibate.
That's true. And I'm also from Chicago, like the Pope. But look, I mean, women, it says in the Bible that women have no authority over men and they can't teach men. And that's why there's no female priests.
There's a lot of things in the Bible. I mean, do you take every word of the Bible as sacrosanct?
Well, yeah, it's inspired scripture.
That's all of
But
it.
I mean,
is
is this now
all of it is
a
sacrosanct.
theological debate? Well, it did. Yeah, he hated me also.
But you were still beside yourself when you heard what happened to him.
I was. I thought what has to be accounted for is that in 2016, 35% of the votes were cast by mail. By 20.
So here's something that I have a hard time getting over. There's a clip of him at the January 6th, quote unquote, insurrection, and he's telling people to ignore the police, which is a complete contradiction from what Alex Jones was saying there. Basically, Alex Jones was saying, like, be peaceful, they're going to try to use this. Yet Nick Fuentes was there instigating, and we know that there were feds there that were also instigating, and they made a big fucking deal about this. They're still talking about the insurrection. And he was there, he instigated, and he was not charged. And so that's why people like Elon Musk are calling him a Fed. Now, he says on Piers Morgan Live that he testified in front of Congress and basically denied, but I've been seeing on Twitter that he pled the fifth when he was asked that question. So I'm not exactly sure what's true, what I'm seeing online, or he did testify with Congress and denied it completely. From what I'm thinking is he pled the fifth on like every question. So what he says on Piers Morgan is a lie. I don't know if anyone in the chat thinks they can clarify.
Because of the pandemic. So you doubled the amount of votes that happened by mail. They called it in-person early voting. They called it a variety of different things. And the other thing that they changed is they solicited the mail-in ballots. So they sent ballots to people's houses. And once you do that, I mean, you have
But, you know, like, I've basically been on a Nick Fuentes binge. You know, I watched these 3 interviews fairly recently. Just the way he's acting, that it doesn't really come off as Fed. It just comes off as someone who's conservative. And we're supposed to not like him. We're supposed to hate him, basically. But like, other than like some off the wall comments, being extreme on some issues, I mean, at the end of the day, he's conservative, or I don't know if he really identifies as a conservative, but he's on the right. It says he pleaded the fifth. You can look it up. Yeah, that's what I thought I saw. So they asked him, like, are you a Fed, or have you worked with the federal government? And he's pled the fifth. So him being there and him pleading the fifth when they're asking him about it, like, that is a red flag. But just the way he's acting on these interviews and his show, if he's a Fed, like, what do you think the benefit of that is? Do you think there's anything more to it? Am I missing something? Because to me, he's just coming off as someone with views that people don't like. So, like, what's the advantage of him being a Fed? Is he, like, trying to cause division on the right? Okay. Yeah. Maybe that's the plan. Drawing the crazies. So for the people who think he's a Fed, how long do you think he's been a Fed for? Like, how long has this been going on?
absentee balloting normally, but it's a process. You got to give your social security number, your ID. They send it to you. There's regulations in place. This is an election where they double the amount of mail-in votes, and they sent ballots to people's houses. And when you do that, you break the chain of custody. So they send the ballot out and then they tell people return it at a 24-hour ballot drop site that's unsupervised. There's thousands of them. And they're going to hope that all the ballots that find their...
Yeah, I think the 2020 election was fucking rigged. Through the mail-in votes, through people who are dead who are voting. Joe Biden's vote total does not add up. And I do think COVID completely ruined Trump's chance at re-election, along with rigging the election. Because if we didn't get COVID, like, he would have got re. A lot of people are dividing the right. A lot of people on the right became anti-Trump all of a sudden. They couldn't arrest him and they couldn't kill him. Now they're trying to divide the base. Someone who I think is in on it is Candace Owens, with all the shit she's doing. But yeah, I don't like this division. Now, I think we can have productive discussions on how Trump is doing, stuff that we want him to do better. But, like, I'm never going to be someone who's tweeting online, like, I'm mad at Trump. I don't think we're in a position at this point to be criticizing the administration because of what could happen in 2028. What could happen in the midterms? You know, I do not want a Democrat in the White House in 2028. We will be like, they'll be the end of the fucking country. Screwed regardless, maybe. Maybe. Candace is a nut job. I love conspiracy theories, but, like, she is insane. Whatever the fuck she says, do not care.
Way into these drop boxes were filled out by the person that the ballot was intended for. And I know that didn't happen. I'll tell you why. My uncle has been dead for 26 years. He got a ballot in 2020. It was mailed to my parents' house. And you know that was
That's fucking crazy.
happening in nursing homes. You know that was happening in apartment buildings.
But you
And so
also
I think
know that every independent body that has looked at this has concluded there was no widespread rigging, that it was a free and fair election and Trump lost. And the bottom line is...
Sure, Piers. Yeah, I do not buy that was a legit election. Now, there was a lot of Trump hate going into that election, people wanting to vote against him, but, like, the Biden 80 million votes, I don't buy it.
He should stop going on about it anyway, because he won back the White House in 2024.
Oh, he won back the White House. Why do you think he won it back? After 4 years of people saying that that election was rigged? 4 years of Biden? It's a ridiculous comment by Piers.
By your...
Okay, well,
as you have
that's a
been so
separate
keen
argument.
to tell me, move on, right? No one wants to look back too far.
That's a separate argument. I mean, you can say that he should stop talking about it, but whether it was rigged or not is actually relevant to what happened on January 6th. Because what happened on J 6th is people were outraged about it. People were furious that, by the way, there's never been an independent ballot audit in all.
Taking a shot at the president. Yeah, the H-1B visas. Bombed Iran.
All the states where there was alleged to be rigging, that has not happened. And certainly it did not happen up until January 6th. And people said this.
There should be a ID at these places. Plain and simple. And like the fact that the left cries about this all the time is just proof that they want the elections rigged. And a lot of illegal immigrants were voting in the election too. They tell you that like that's not possible. No, it is. That's the whole reason they wanted the open border.
This is ridiculous. They're stealing it.
No,
There's
if
that
people,
red
honestly,
mirage.
if either you or Donald Trump are trying to use it.
No, I think
Okay.
that's ridiculous.
Okay. Let's take a final break and come back with a little.
Oh, and what's the way I am? What are you trying to say?
I've given people 2 hours of the way you are.
All right. That was the Piers Morgan, Nick Fuentes interview. So what do you guys think of Nick Fuentes? So 1 in the chat if you think he's okay or like him. A 2 if you think you don't like him and he's fake news. Let me know. Elections are still rigged, man. We got some 1s. Mix 1. We got a 2. I don't know. My opinion on it, it's still forming. I don't know much about him. I watched a few interviews with him. He's on the right. I do not like at all, out of all the stuff he's done, I do not like him publicly being against Trump. But like I can get some of the context behind it, even though I disagree with it. I think I'll go with 1 that he's okay. There's really nothing he said that like offended me. I'm a pretty hard person to offend. But I don't see how his views are too much different from mine. It's like there's some stuff he said that's out there, but that's for theater. I think he's more extreme on a couple issues, but at the end of the day, he's not a fucking leftist. He's not a Democrat unless you think he's a Fed. I mean, but he did tell people to vote for Kamala over Trump. But assuming he's not a Fed and assuming he's not a closet Kamala boy, he seems okay. And the fact that like the left hates him, that's good. He's a Latinx dude for Harris. Trump is an Israel lover taking a shot at Trump. It'd be nice to have a president in there that is just done giving money to Israel. America first. So that's why I don't like the infighting with conservatives. Like all the criticisms you have for Trump, I want the next person to come in to take in that criticism and be like a better version of like a MAGA president. But I don't know, once Trump is out of there and we have someone in, like is MAGA really going to continue or is it just going to be gone with Trump? For me, I will be very happy if we have like 20 years Republican presidents. Even if it's like not perfect, even if there's a lot of criticism, I'd rather have that than 20 years of Democrats with how crazy they've gotten. And I'll be interested to see what they do. John says Rubio, JD Vance, the VP, he's the probably the favorite, but I mean, like, how much star power does he got? Is he really going to get the nominee? You know, others might come in and be like, "You're fake news, bro." Yeah, I just don't like the fence riding. I think Fuentes, I do not like the anti-Trumpness from him, but I think he's kind of like a, you know, burn it down to the ground type of strategy. And I think that is way too risky to be any kind of a fence rider when it comes to politics these days. It's, you know, it's either red or blue, no purple. If you're purple, you're gonna be blue, and I do not want them to get back control at all. And what I think the Democrats, it needs to get to a point where the red keeps winning, and the Democrats need to realize that they're losers, and the people that are dragging them down are the fucking crazy leftists. And so once they realize that, then maybe they can win at some point in the future. Like, that might be the only way they win, is if they drop the fucking leftists from their party, which have consumed them. And then maybe one day we can get back to where the other side is in the White House, and it's not like the end of the world. Where when Biden is in the White House and Kamala Harris is in the White House, or Gavin Newsom, it's the end of the world. It's not going to be good. At least I know with the Republicans, conservatives, if they're in the White House, and like I can live my life peacefully and not have to worry about getting locked up for triggering a fucking crybaby on the internet. Yeah, like that's what they need. If you're a part of the Democrat Party, it's like you need to distance yourself from the crazies. It's that's the only way I think that they can get back into making it competitive, because right now the Trump won the popular vote, and people have woke up to how crazy the people on the left are, the far left. So that's what I like to think. You know, there's people in the chat that are have criticism of Trump. My thinking is we can improve with the next person, and you know we can build. Hopefully, like we keep this going. You know, I have under no circumstance complain about the president on the right and then vote Democrat in the next election. No circumstance. People need to remember that we could have gotten Kamala in the White House. There definitely would be way more wars. Nobody is going to be afraid of America when there's a retard running the country. Exactly. Why do you think Ukraine happened? Because Biden was in office. You think he'd pull that shit under Trump? I don't think so. Just the culture shift alone, like I'm pretty wired in with what a lot of crybabies are doing online, and just the culture shift, the left being so unhinged and unhappy has been completely worth it so far. Been completely worth it, them being miserable, because it's letting them know, hey, your lifestyle of being a fake victim, crazy, is not beneficial. And, you know, we do need to enforce the borders. Always been a big believer in that. You know, every other country enforces their borders. It's frustrating when we try to do stuff and then it's just get these activist judges. Activist judges, man, you know, it's like I was raised thinking like you'd get a fair trial in a court of law in the US, but I don't know anymore. You know what happened with George Floyd, Derek Chauvin? I thought that was insane. He got like the second degree murder charge, like premeditated. I think they did that because they knew they were going to fucking riot and burn down everything. And, you know, George Floyd, sorry for any George Floyd fans in the chat. He died of a drug overdose. And not only his life was ruined, it's like the cops working with him on the scene, their lives are ruined too. And the original video they put out looks so much worse than the actual video that came out with all the context. Like, I was thinking, if you wanted to say it's negligent, I think that's the third degree murder charge. It's like I could see. I don't agree with it, but I could see. The second degree, that was premeditated. That is bullshit, and to me, a clear indication that this guy was going to fry no matter what, and that they were intimidated. Would you want to be one of those jurors and decide that he's not guilty of anything, and you're going to walk out of there thinking you're going to be okay? Oh yeah, it's crazy. COVID was fucked up, man. Shit was fucked up. No, it didn't. And then the other angles were showing him freaking out and not listening. BLM clowns, you know, funneling their money into their mansions.
That's all of his donors and special interests out there.
Large mansions. All right, guys. Getting close to 2 hours here talking about Oregon, Nick Fuentes. I might clip some of this shit. Might clip some of it, make some videos. That's what we're going to be doing on this channel. Until we get going, doing a lot of live stream clipping. I do have original content that will be coming. Definitely some songs created And there's a lot of videos that I can make for this channel. It's just a matter of time. I don't have any. But in the future, you know, this shit's gonna evolve. The brand's gonna evolve. And if we become a big shot, then I'll definitely have time to like make in-depth political videos. And my political views right now, you know, I got a long way to go to, you know, to become relevant in this space and become more knowledgeable. So that's going to be what I'm going to be doing behind the scenes, just trying to be more wired in every day so we could have gays on YouTube should join us. It's been a battle of the platforms this entire stream. Like it's been back and forth between YouTube, back and forth between Rumble. But I gotta say, YouTube is bigoted towards new channels. Rumble allows the super chats right away. YouTube doesn't. Man. Shills are going to continue to devolve. Yeah, I might get a little crazy, start streaming the Kick, might start streaming the Odyssey. I probably won't stream to Twitter. I'm glad Elon bought it, but I'm just not a fan of streaming to Twitter. Because they're also very bigoted with who's allowed to be monetized on Twitter. So it doesn't really do much for me, and I think like any views on there is gonna just be inflated. Odyssey is trash. Stream on Kick. Anything is better than Rumble. Yeah, I was stuck in the YouTube matrix, but I'm warming up the Rumble. I don't know why StreamYard is bigoted towards Rumble. You have to like you have to kind of like hack into StreamYard to get Rumble working. Oh, for sure. I came close to getting monetized on there. I had a viral tweet that got 2.5 million impressions. You needed 5 million within like 90 days. And I was trying in 2024, but I needed another like viral tweet and it wasn't going to happen. And it's not worth it. You know, I think you make like $9 on 1 million impressions. And that's kind of what Twitter is now. People saying like crazy shit just to get the ad revenue, recycling tweets. Yeah, Twitch is kind of gay. I don't think I would stream on Twitch. I've always liked YouTube, but their recent shit with AI and all these channels getting terminated, it's not good. It's a terrible fucking look for them. And I don't know why they're not doing anything about it. Like every day I'm on Twitter, I'm seeing someone getting terminated for no reason.
Now it's time to get super duper high. You got that bong I got you in Tel Aviv?
Bar mitzvah, hit it up, dude.
Bong mitzvah. Late at night. Should I hit the fucking bong, man? And go to bed? Or chill out, man? Watch some videos. All right, thank you guys for being here. We're still kind of figuring out what we're doing here today. We just reacted to the video, had a long discussion. Last week we kind of like went through some of the planned segments for the show, but we're gonna have more structure. We're gonna have videos planned for the segments. And, you know, shit like this pops up, that'll be the focus on the stream. You know, if Trump is speaking and it's an important speech, you know, we'll be following that. Well, we're going to be every week here, Wednesday nights. And then if we ever hit a new level of success, you know, we'll probably be doing 2 or 3 streams a week. Hell yeah. So be on the lookout for any videos and anything I'll clip. And definitely some of these musics. Some of these songs are coming, political songs. Hopefully some of those could go viral. You know, making like an AOC song.
I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
All right, thanks again, guys, for being here. I'll see you next Wednesday. And for the Star Wars channel, I'll see you guys on Friday. Later.